Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show! And tonight, we're going to keep going with the crazy situation that the party is in. But before we do that, we are going to have a couple of announcements and a quick recap, and then we'll dive straight into things. But before we get into all of that, Nick, would you go ahead and start off some player introductions?
I'm Nick. I play Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who's the wild magic sorcerer, who's also a tiefling.
There you go.
That's true.
Yep.
That's all true. Hi, I'm Zach, and I play Zant, who's a human fighter ranger.
I'm Melissa, and I play Mara, who is a human rogue swashbuckler.
So those announcements we talked about. We premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items as well as a wild magic table. So be aware of that as you're watching. The character portraits, which you'll see on the info cards, were drawn by an artist named Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. If you need a refresher for what's going on in our campaign and the characters that the players are interacting with, you can check out our wiki on World Anvil. And all of that information and more can be found in the video description, where we also have links to some Black Lives Matter resources, among other things. Other than all of that, you can follow us on Twitter @AntiheroesAnon, and we just hope that you enjoy the show, share with your friends, and come back and watch some more. So, that recap. The Antiheroes defeated... Sorry, I just heard some like weird music box music.
The final
There's
boss.
creepy stuff apparently happening in my house. Anyways, that aside, the Antiheroes defeated Mother Midnight in her lair on Malbolg, the 6th lair of the 9 Hells. And then upon returning to their home world of Alen'dal, the Sword of Esanihen's judgment, which was carried by Thaddeus, became the final component in Thaddeus's half-brother Gavin's ritual, which opened a thing called the Eye in the Moon, which had been foreseen before, earlier in the campaign. The party then rested their weary bodies at the riverbed landing in Redwater and reconnected with friends and family while there. In the morning, they collected the bound and gagged Rotten Rowan, a hag that they encountered throughout the course of the campaign several times, and teleported over to the capital city of the continent of Freydin, the concentrically layered city of Ferendel, intending to deposit the hag there in a secure prison before leaving for Arborea to meet with Thaddeus's god and decide what to do about this Eye in the Moon situation. So, to refresh your memory on the situation, the moon has exploded, or at least in part. A beam of light had shot up from Thaddeus's sword, boring a hole into the center of the moon and causing rubble and debris to spray outward from the sides of the moon, forming these sort of pointed asteroid field shapes out to the sides, very much giving it the appearance of an eye floating up in the sky. But the moon and all of the stars were quickly surrounded or quickly covered by a veil of darkness that emerged from the moon, plunging the world into a darkness that is darker than night, which did not lift despite the fact that you slept until morning. So the group of you emerged from the inn in the darkness, trudged your way out of town, dealt with Harmony's Chaos Amulet very quickly, and then Harmony cast the teleport spell to whisk you away to Ferendel. So my question is, does Harmony have something from Ferendel? An associated object, per se?
Oh. Well, let me take out my really strange inventory here.
Does it have to be on her person or just in a group?
In the group, someone in the group could have
Because the
provided
diamond
something
in
to her.
Thaddeus' shield is from there, right?
That's true.
That's true. I also thought that I had I have a piece of quartz from Thimblefoot Industries or Enterprises or whatever it's called. Still,
I think
thought
it
she
is
picked up shiny objects
Enterprises.
from wherever.
Enterprises.
these
I
things.
write TE. I did have those things that I took from the tower, the shield, but I think I got rid of those. I was holding on to those for a really long time.
That or they might be in the bag of holding.
No, I think
Maybe
I like
they are,
traded
maybe
them
they
in
aren't.
for something. I think I traded them in for something.
I think you did too. Yeah.
Right, but I have a piece of quartz from Thimblefoot Enterprises.
Okay. In that case, hold on, give me a second. I need to find my map of Ferendel.
I also have an alchemy kit, but I think I probably got that in Northwood.
Yeah.
Okay, so you cast your spell and the rainbow magic swirls around you, pulling all of you from one location over to a different location. And when the rainbow magic subsides, you find yourselves basically on a street, very clearly within Ferendel. You recognize all the sorts of, architecture that you would expect to be here. But on a level of the city, I don't think that many of you have actually been to. If you'll remember, the city was basically different. It was layered, with one layer being built on top of the other. And Thimblefoot Enterprises is on the fourth layer. And so you find yourself basically on the street between all these different like factories and office spaces and, like development facilities, business parks, that kind of thing. And as you look around you, it is dark. You would remember from your time in Ferendel before, it has a lot of electric lighting, very new and modern thing in this place. But as you get a brief glance around in the light of Thaddeus's sword and Mara's headlights, etc., you see that these electric lights that would ordinarily line the streets seem to, many of them have been smashed inward. And as you listen, you can hear the sounds of chaos throughout the city, howls and shrieks and cries emanating from places basically all over the entire city.
Shoot.
And there are people who will occasionally, some people are running by you as you appear and they seem to pay you no notice, but a number of them seem to be whispering to themselves. You hear one of them as they go by is just kind of like hunched over and running forward, and he's just saying something like, "The grasping arms of Hadar, the grasping arms of Hadar," just like nonsense.
Now, when you say we're on the fourth level, does that mean the bottom level or the
top level?
Oh, the top level. Okay.
However, in recent years, construction has been going on to build a fifth level above this one. So there are also areas that seem to be under construction where there's actually a roof above, but it doesn't really make much of a difference right now because the sky is so dark that whether you're underneath another layer of the city or underneath the sky, it's pretty much all the same.
Where's the castle positioned right now?
You probably wouldn't be able to see it from where you are, but you know that the castle is on a platform in the center of the city and can be raised or lowered to any level. So if you make your way towards the center of the city, you would be able to see which level it is on.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
That's where we need to go. So.
Probably won't be able to take a cab in this situation, though.
Is this a time for mammoth form Lulu?
Unless you want me to hijack a cab again.
I think it's too dark to drive a cab safely right now.
I have headlights, man.
You have blinkers too if you wink.
And caution lights.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a cab is a great idea with these arrangements.
Do you want to try and locate one?
No. I'd rather just fly there. But I also want to
Lulu,
see what's causing all the chaos.
yeah, roll a perception check as you kind of get your bearings now that you've arrived in the
I'll
city.
help you.
Sure, thank you.
hmm
Let's do that. That is a well. I got a natural 1 on one of them, so thanks for the help. That's a
Yep, you're
22
welcome.
though. A natural
22 total.
22.
You take a moment to sort of as you begin to walk towards where you suspect the center of the city might be. And you think you have a pretty good heading, especially since you've just made a really good perception check. As you kind of see more people, or at least hear more people out there in the darkness, it seems as if the people of the city, or at least some subset of the people of the city, because you see some people who are behaving normal-ish, like hiding in their houses, gathered around candles and things like that. But at least certain subsets of the city seem to have abandoned reason to some extent.
Is it at all obvious that only certain I don't want to say like types of people, but people?
No,
No.
it's very widely varied.
Okay. So there isn't like one section of city that's more effective that we can tell.
No. And as you begin to walk, this is now that you're sort of for the first time traversing the world of darkness that is the current situation, it's odd because you constantly have light around you and that helps, but the group of you can't help but notice things on the fringes of the light in the darkness.
Can we maybe speculate that it's the exposure to this new darkness is causing people to go mad or something? And that
Potentially.
okay.
Potentially. But yeah, the things you like sort of notice on the edges of the darkness, like you'll think you see something and then you look closer and there's nothing there,
Mhm.
or you think you hear a sound on the edge of the light and you look in that direction and nothing has moved. Things like that. It just seems like something is playing at the edges of your perception.
I don't like horror games.
That
I'm
That
not
is- that is
brave.
could tell you. That is could tell you that of the sisters, Nashin's domain was madness.
I was just gonna ask, like, is that the information that Esanihen gave you while you were there? Did you share that with us last
I shared
night?
it with-
Have you shared?
I
That
shared it with
was-
the rest. I don't
but
know
not
if
with
it was
me.
there.
I wasn't
Yeah.
there for that. But did you recap that again for me when I got there and we just role play it?
Probably
Or,
so. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
It seems like an important thing for all of us to know.
Yeah. All right, then, yeah, then I would look around and say, yeah, this tracks.
hmm
I think that there isn't really anything we can do about these people right now, so let's just make our way to the
Yeah,
castle.
we should go quick.
See if we can locate Dawn.
Okay. You make your way in that direction, and it's a little while because it's a big city. And occasionally things will impede your path. Like there will be roads that are blocked by taxis that are overturned and on fire, or, things like that. But you make your way to the center of the city and you find yourself standing at there's like a railing that prevents people from falling overboard, but there is basically a big hole in the center of the city, and you look up and down and you can spot the castle. It seems like one level below you, down
Okay.
on the third level of the city.
I mean, everyone here can fly. Why don't we just fly down there? I mean, Mara will have to cast fly now. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Or I could
Well,
Probably
we
more
also
myself.
have the our new
Oh,
company.
yeah, I can help.
Well,
Lulu.
That's true.
I was actually pointing to the hag and saying
Oh.
the hag can't really fly. But you're great, Lulu.
Also, I'm not sure Gavin can fly.
Yeah, he.
But, you know, we have arms and
shakes his head.
shoulders.
Yeah, so
Or we can write
I'll-
down. I wasn't sure if there was room to write down on Lulu or not, but if there's enough space to use Lulu, let's use Lulu.
Yeah.
And then
Can't take all
there's
of you, but she can take enough of you that
rest
those
that-
of you who
yeah.
have flying abilities can just take it from there.
You don't need to expend things to do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So she can take like Harmony, Mara, and the other two, and then that's fine. She can take
Okay.
4 people.
Oh boy, leaving Gavin alone with Harmony and Mara.
So yeah, Lulu at that plan grows to her mammoth size, emitting light as she does, and
Forgot that
you
could
swear
fly.
you hear like the sound of retreating footprints or footsteps or something like that as she emits this light, but there's nothing there. And then the others climb up onto her, and then the group of you fly your way downward. Do you want to just land at like the main entrance, or is there somewhere like you would be able to?
Is there like a
technically land?
balcony to your darling sweetheart's room
There
that you
would
would
be.
know about, Thaddeus?
I think it would be better to go in through the front door, don't you think? I don't want to sneak into the palace.
I don't know. Do we want to deal with all the pomp and circumstance? This is kind of an emergency.
I do want to listen to
think
the
they'll take
palace
it as
sneaking
one.
music from Zelda.
We just need to go to the front door and demand to see the princess.
Okay. Just remember this. I gave you an out.
Or an in.
Let's just go.
High five.
Okay. So you fly down towards the entranceway, and as you get closer, you can see lights on the drawbridge that sort of connects the main castle to the rest of the city. And as you get closer and closer, you realize that there are a number of guards stationed there with, they've got torches and, other sources of flame lit there to provide them with light. But among them, you spot someone you recognize, a small halfling form with heavily scarred skin and toting what you recognize by this time, your many years spent getting to know her. She has a rifle in hand. So you recognize Bree among the guards, Dawn's best friend from childhood.
I'll hail Bree.
Okay. As soon as you call out, everyone on the bridge kind of looks up, and you can see that some of the guards kind of reach to draw their swords, but Breeze shouts to them, "No, it's fine. I actually I recognize that one. Sort of. The wings are new." And yeah,
I'm waving from on top of Lulu.
the group of you alight down next to where Bree is. She kind of like shoos the guards back to create space for the group of you. Thaddeus, Harmony, Zant, Mara, good to see you all.
I jumped
kinda-
down from Lulu and I give her a hug.
As you're doing that, she spots Gavin and just kind of side-eyes him and says, "Oh, and Gavin."
Yeah, that was my reaction too. Is everyone okay here? We need to see Dawn.
Oh, well, I'm sure she'll be back at some point soon. She's out in the city. When all of this happened and things started going crazy out there, I mean, you know how she is. She rushed out to help. So
I dig the rupee out of my bag and hand it to Thaddeus without saying anything.
Thaddeus takes it. But says to Bree, can we entrust this one into your care? Is there a magically sealed place where we can put this hag?
yeah, she was, as you were saying that, she was kind of like looking this woman up and down, and she's like, you could see that she was doubting like why this woman would need special, care.
Mhm.
But then when you say hag, she's like, oh, yeah, probably. I think the castle should have facilities for something like that. And she kind of calls over one of the guards, sort of, tall, imposingly built woman, and she says, "Hey, Captain, do we have room for, or do we have a cell that could hold a powerful magical creature?" And the captain gives her a look like, "What?" But they start to have a little conversation of their own off to the side to discuss whether they have facilities for that.
Okay. And then I'll use the gem.
Okay.
I've just been watching Thaddeus very expectantly, like, well, are you going to use it or not this whole time? So,
I wanted to make.
I
I wanted to
know.
get this stupid hag out of our hair.
I know. I know.
Like tapping her feet.
Just like make that somebody else's problem for a second. Yeah, and I'll send the message. Dawn, I'm at the palace. They say you're somewhere in Farendel, but I'll be waiting for you here.
Okay. And the message you get back is, "Thaddeus, you're here. This is excellent timing. They're absolutely awful. I could really use your help. I'll hurry back so that we can group up." And that's what she says. Meanwhile, Bree and the guard have seemingly reached a conclusion, and Bree turns back to you and says, "Yeah, the captain thinks that we have something that'll work. Hasn't been used in some time, but should still be okay, I think. Should we just take her?"
That would be
I'll come
great.
with you.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll
I'd
go
like to
too.
just make sure that I'd just like to see it and make sure.
Sure, yeah. All right, this way. And she kind of nods her head, shoulders her rifle, and leaves the captain here in charge. And then the two of you with Rotten Rowan head off towards the castle.
And I'll say
Yako's coming too.
to Bree.
Yako too? Okay.
So things are bad here, huh?
Oh, Bree, so you're going with Bree as well?
Oh no, Bree went with them. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bree
Yeah,
left the captain
I'm just
here
gonna
in
wait
charge,
here
so-
for Dawn.
Mara is usually very fleet of foot, but she's going to take every opportunity to step on Gavin's feet or him or something like that every chance she gets and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh, why am I
Get
so
out!
pushy today?"
What's wrong with you? Those of you who are remaining on the bridge waiting for Dawn to return, you notice that every few minutes or so, several of the torches and lights, these fires that are being used to illuminate this bridge area, will spontaneously blow out, and the guards have to rush to relight them. Harmony and Byakko, the two of you go with Bree into the castle. Is there anything you want to talk about with Bree as you go?
Yeah, I'll just say how have things been here. We've been gone for a week or so, but tell me.
Well, I mean, up till tonight, everything was fine, you know?
Yeah.
Or I guess last night.
Yeah. When did all this start happening? I mean, obviously we saw the moon exploding and we saw the darkness fall, but I mean, we were in Redwater and things seemed pretty peaceful there,
Yeah, it wasn't as crazy
all
over
things
there.
considered.
At least it didn't hit yet.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of happened pretty quick. I mean, it started in the lowest levels of the city where, electricity isn't really common. The people down there seemed to, I don't know, something was affecting their minds, and it hit them quick, within hours. And then they started to bubble up into the higher levels of the city, smashing lights and things. And well, then people got panicked and tried to flee. But it seems like this darkness is doing its best to snuff out all light. And when it does,
It's
she
maddening.
kind of shudders and says, "There's something or some manner of things out there in the darkness and just beyond our
Well-
capabilities to sense and deal with. I don't know what it is.
We're gonna stop it, or we're gonna die trying.
We'll do the first option.
Says Byakko.
We'll probably do.
No,
the
I'm there.
first
I'm there too. It's Byakko
Oh,
and
you
I
came
are both
too?
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Byakko's like meow meow meow.
option. Says Byakko.
I thought you just
Meow,
said
meow, meow.
Byakko.
No, I said and Byakko's coming too is what
Gotcha,
I meant to say
gotcha.
if I
Yeah.
didn't. Hey Ethan, when we left Thaddeus's aura, did we realize this like more oppressive force of like the shadows and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, because you're away from a constant source of, I mean, you have light because Bree is carrying a torch with her, or she would be, and there are sconces with torches lit within the castle itself, but anytime you're in between, two sconces and there's that little bit of darkness, especially outside of Thaddeus's emboldening aura. You can feel it's as if there is something scratching at the sides of your mind trying to get in.
Okay. As we're walking, I will just grab one of the torches and carry it along with us too.
Yeah.
Seeing that
You feel a little bit better.
Okay, maybe I'll take two. Just one. Okay, cool. Thanks. I'll ask Bree, where's Ignatius and the others, your other friends.
Well, haven't heard from Ignatius in a couple of years. He, as you probably remember, he took up residence over in Ravenmore.
With Mandus.
Well, I seem to remember something about Mandus wanting to go elsewhere,
I thought they
looking
both
for
went,
more
but-
dragons. Or, no, what happened was Mandus left Ignatius in charge of the
Oh,
orphanage.
that's right. Okay, I know that they got together. I thought, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Aramil's, well, he's out with Dawn right now. Should be back with her, I'd presume.
Okay.
Someone had to stay here and watch the castle. She kind of like pats herself on the back.
And you're the
That's me.
only one that they could have trusted with that. And I pat her shoulder.
Naturally. She
You're
seems
who I would have trusted.
she seems actually like unreasonably cheerful despite everything that's going on.
Great.
She leads you down into the dungeons area of the castle, which I can't remember, but I think you guys might have been in before for one reason or another. Not that you were locked up, but you've been to this area. And
Dr. King and Queen.
oh yeah, that might have been what it was. Yeah. There are a couple of cells. Most of the cells look pretty similar and mundane. But there's a couple which, as you approach them, you can see like faintly glowing runes and things in the bars. Clearly some sort of magical enchantment. And Bree just kind of gestures at one of these cells and says, well, if anything's going to hold a hag, it'll be something like this, I guess. I don't know, it hasn't
Can
been
I
much use for them
Inspect
recently.
it.
Yeah.
I just want to give it a once over just to make sure that it's up to snuff.
Just make a quick Arcana check.
Okay.
Is the lighting here pretty poor?
Yeah.
Are the
it
prisoners
is.
around here like all mad already? Are they just going nuts?
There aren't a ton of prisoners in here. The royal dungeons aren't really used all that frequently. Like they would be used for people who, do direct transgressions against the royal family or something
sure.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And so normally there's criminals would be held in like jails elsewhere in the city.
Like if we went to Don's balcony, we'd be in here right now for a different reason.
Yeah, exactly. So there really aren't that many prisoners, and it seems like those that are here, the guards have gone to the trouble of making sure that things stay lit.
Cool.
That's a 22.
22. Yeah, you look at the runes, maybe step into the cell and try to cast a cantrip, and it becomes pretty clear rather quickly that the runes create like an area of like dead magic. sort of just preventing spell casting within.
Great. All right, then I'll step out and I'll just kind of do this and say, all right, I think this will work.
At least for a few days, right? Or whatever
At
it
least,
takes.
yeah, at
Till we
least
get back.
until we can take care of this problem.
All right. Well, then, do we just throw her in?
Is she still unconscious or is she awake?
Oh, no,
no.
she's been awake.
She's been
the
awake.
entire morning.
She's bound and
She
gagged.
greeted me good
Mhm.
morning.
That's right. All right, then I will. Has she been walking on her own, or has she just been like over someone's shoulder?
That's up to you. Either way.
I'm not the one who tied her up, so I'm asking you guys.
I guess it's up to
I'm
Xant.
looking at Xant here.
Probably carried.
Okay.
Carried. All right, then I will. I'll gesture to Xant to come with me into the cell.
Okay.
And to bring her and set her down.
Yep.
And once you set her down, I will kind of stand in front of her, kind of squaring my shoulders, and I'll look at her and I'll say, you're going to behave here until I get back. And when I get back, I'm going to deal with you. But until then, you're going to have to wait to see how the story ends.
Yeah, and she's bound and gagged, but when she's sort of set down in the cell, she pulls herself upright into a sitting position against the back wall, and she fixes her eyes directly on you, listens to you throughout your speech, and then just kind of gives you a nod.
And I'm going to reach into my bag and I'm going to pull out the unicorn stuffed animal, and I'm just going to throw it at her feet and walk out without saying anything else.
Okay. If any of you, other than Harmony, kind of watch how she reacts to that, she kind of leans over and pulls the stuffed animal closer to her, and then just sits back up and kind of stares at the group of you.
Yeah, I'll just like dust off where I was carrying her. Like, oh, I'm so done. These things. Okay.
And then once Xant is out back with me, then I will nod at the guards to lock her up.
And cuties.
Yeah, and they do. So back on the bridge, it's
There's
they're
dogs. on the
probably
bridge.
Oh my God, Nazria! I go running. Where is she? No, I'm kidding.
no one knows what happened to Nazria.
We do now.
There
There
probably
she is.
there probably would be dogs barking out in the city with all of
Good
the
immersion.
craziness. Back out on the bridge, it's a little while before dawn arrives, and the guards that are out there are clearly uneasy, but the ones that fall within Thaddeus's aura seem to gain like a renewed confidence, or they seem to be a little bit more emboldened, less afraid.
I can help by extending the reach of the light on my sword too. It can go up to 60 feet.
Yeah, they definitely, as the light from your sword, this soft moonlight falls across them, you can almost hear a sigh of relief from every single one of them. It seems like that's a great comfort to them. And it's not long before you see a spot of golden light coming running this direction, and hear the sound of clink, 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 clink of heavy armor as Dawn and Aramil come running out of the darkness and skid to a halt on the drawbridge in front of the group of you. Thaddeus, you really are here. Oh, thank goodness. Things are really bad out there, and having you and your friends here is, oh, it'll be such a help.
Don, I don't think we're going to be here for long. We have to go to cut this off at the source.
What do you mean? Where are you going? And she gestures up at the sky. Something hit the moon and this darkness started flowing out. What are you going to do about that?
I know what caused it, and I know how we can help, but we can't do it from here. We have to go to Esanihen's homeland.
She She seems a little taken aback, but once she soaks that all in, she nods and says, "Okay, perhaps we should talk inside. If you're not going to be able to stay and help, then I need to get back out there. But I want to hear more about this before you go. So let's go talk." And she strides confidently past all of the guards. Aramil kind of standing tall and striding silently beside her. And the group of you make your way inside. And you probably run into Harmony, Zant, and Bree coming back the other direction.
I'll run up and give Dawn a hug.
Oh, hey,
Dawn,
Harmony.
you're here. And you're okay. And you look gorgeous.
Harmony's grown a lot, hasn't she?
I'm like brushing off some smudges off of her armor.
You do look taller. That's true.
Hi, Don.
And older. I think I have wrinkles.
No, I don't really see any, but it is dark in here.
Are there torches nearby?
Yeah, and there's Thaddeus'
Or like wall
aura, and
sconces?
Dawn
'Cause I
can
can-
create light from her mace as well, so
But like as we go, I can be like lighting torches with prestidigitation.
there are some that have gone out because, like I said,
Yeah.
non-magical light sources seem to just diminish at some point.
I can light them with
I'll be
flamethrowers too.
I'm going to be doing prestidigitation as we go down the hall.
Oh man.
Don't worry, Harmony, I got this one.
Yeah. So I think Dawn would probably just take you to like one of the side audience chambers off of the throne room.
Oh, can it be the one that we holed up in all that time ago?
Absolutely, yeah. When you were plotting with Ian
Right.
to deal with Orin.
Last time we saw Nasria.
She's probably out there living her best life. And yeah, Dawn just kind of takes a seat. There's chairs in there that she kind of like pulls into a loose formation so that everyone can sit down. Okay, tell me more about what's going on and how can I help? I know I have my hands full here and my people need me, but if there's anything I can do.
Well, it has to do with the Eight Sisters, and I'll explain about, kind of run down what Esanihen told me about the story of Nasheen and how she
Mhm.
was trapped in there. And I said that her followers were trying really hard not to look at Gavin.
Yeah,
I was
Gavin
just
is,
going
like,
to say,
averting
I'm
his
watching.
gaze this entire
I'm
time.
watching Gavin the whole time, very
Yeah.
Oh
closely.
yeah,
while you
Mara
talk.
has not been left far from his side.
Yeah, I'd assume so. He's very much standing at the fringes of all of this and not really looking anyone in the eye. Like he's doing everything he can to look away from people. Like he'll be like examining a suit of armor or like a painting on the wall or something like that. Even though it's nothing spectacular at all, he's just using it as an excuse to like not interface with all of this. What was Thaddeus saying?
So her followers were conducting a ritual, and the last component of that ritual was this sword that I was somewhat tricked into bringing back from the Hells. And as soon as I arrived, well, that happened.
I see. So
Gavin.
in order to deal with it, what are you going to have to do?
I don't know. I don't know exactly, but Esanihen told me when she whisked me away briefly to Arborea that I needed to gather my friends and come back to there where I could help with some sort of counter ritual. I think
Well-
we'll learn more once we can talk to her in Arborea, but that's the best that I've got for now.
I see. Well, is there anything that I can do to help? Like I said, I don't think I can leave this place. Well, my people need me. But I also don't like thinking about you having to deal with something on such an incredible scale, just the four of you.
Thaddeus laughed a little bit and said, if I told you what we got up to in the Hells, I don't think that you would be. Either you would be a lot more afraid for me, or you would be a lot less.
That gets a chuckle out of her.
Probably
I
a
guess
little
that's
bit of
true.
both.
Kind of skipped over that, but I really am glad you're home safely. I did worry while you were down there.
That was I mean, one of my biggest worries while I was down there was that whether or not I would survive to see you again. And so that just being here with you now helps.
I wish that the circumstances were not what they were. I really do. And she gives you a meaningful look at that.
Okay, I need to roll an insight check now.
Oh, to see what the meaning is?
Yeah. It's a 16.
16? Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to discern. It seems like she was very seriously worried for you while you were gone. Like the danger of the place that you went to was not lost on her. And she was very much looking forward to having you back. And now that you are, she just wants to, spend more time with you. But that's not possible because both of you have things you must attend to. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the obvious meaning, but
I think
I elbow Xant and I lean over and say, do you think we should like leave them alone for a few minutes?
I'll just shake his
Yeah.
head.
and like kind of seeing her reluctance to let Thaddeus go, I think Thaddeus will like kind of take her hand for a second and say, listen, I know we just reunited and you don't want me to go again, but I will be back, I promise. And like with the promise, he like kind of slips her the ring that he found.
just like press it into her palm or something like that.
And then maybe we should.
Yeah, her hand closes on it, and she was
I'd like
looking
to
at.
slowly sneak out of the room.
Roll a stealth check.
All right, yeah, here we go. I'll do it too.
There are a lot of us in here.
Hey, that's not bad. That's a 15.
Yeah, I mean her attention is elsewhere.
Okay, I'll drag
I'm gonna like,
Gavin
You
along.
drag Gavin too.
we'll just go stand out in the
Got
hallway.
a 25.
Okay.
I don't need to roll for Bianco, probably.
I think Thaddeus would probably notice everyone
Kind of
disappearing.
slowly backing up. Like,
I don't
Bree
know.
also
Thaddeus is
tries
also
to
pretty
like.
distracted, and his passive perception sucks.
Okay. So yeah, maybe you don't notice that the room empties around you, but Bree also takes the initiative and backs up with the group of you. So as you're saying your speech, she was sort of looking you in the eyes, and then she feels the weight of the ring in her palm, and she kind of reluctantly breaks eye contact with you and looks down at it. And you can see sort of realization dawning on her face as she kind of pulls it up to look closer at it. And then she smiles and says, well, if you didn't, I was going to soon. But I guess you beat me to it.
That's not what this is now. Not yet. It's not a proposal. It's just a promise.
She kind of like wipes a single tear aside and says, all right, a promise it is then. Listen, when you left for the Hells, I didn't doubt that you'd come back to me. I couldn't help but worry. I think anyone would if they understood what that place really is, as you and I do. And I think that anyone would be worried sending someone they care about off to face what you're about to face. So I'm not going to say I won't worry. but I promise to believe that you'll come back. Is that fair?
That's fair. I wish you could come with me, but I know that you belong here.
The people of the city really need me right now. You saw how bad things are out there.
I had no idea that. I mean, I saw in Redwater that it was obviously the blanket of night, but I didn't know it was affecting people in this way.
Yeah, it took some time to seep throughout the city, but I think that the natural darkness of the lower levels of the city and, well, just the sheer number of people here made the spread happen quicker than maybe it did back in Redwater where you were. But I think that this is the fate of the world if you're not successful. So I guess I'm glad you came here, if anything, so that you understand exactly what it is you're fighting against. And because obviously we got to see each other again, which is a bonus. And she kind of stands up and pulls you to your feet as well. Right. Well, I have your promise, and I promise to you that if there's something I can do to help you, I will do it no matter what. Just find a way to reach me, and I will do whatever it takes.
Good luck.
And to you too.
I'll hug her.
Yeah. She gives you a big hug back. And this hug, it lasts, a good
Yeah.
Minute or so.
I mean, I think we
We're all-
both wanted to.
Yeah. The group of you, just a bunch of like eyes.
Yeah,
going up
everybody's just kind of like watching.
Yeah. Finally, the hug breaks off, and she says, I think we both have to get back to it. But then as you sort of turn to go, she says, but Thaddeus, when this is over, just promise me we'll spend some time together.
Absolutely.
And she gives you a nod of, understanding that you both have to go off and do your duties for now, but that you have the promise that you'll see each other again. And then she says, all right, the group of you there at the door, you can come back in now.
All come back in.
Yeah, we all kind of shuffle back in.
Yeah, can come back in.
That was great.
I'll ask the rest of the group. Is there anything else? Did we have to do anything else to prepare?
I had a thought. So, Don, what's the state of Thimblefoot right now? Everything looks pretty bad, but do you think they still have some, sections that aren't demolished or, braided or something like that?
I would assume so.
Because if we're fighting this oppressive darkness, and we have the capabilities of, nice big Thimblefoot electric lights that we can bring with us or something, I think that might be a strength in this upcoming battle. If we really do have to struggle to stay out of this madness in some way. So if we could go there and maybe procure some things, like, I think that'd be helpful.
Maybe worth looking.
It's a great idea.
Well, you know that they've said that it seems that it's affecting non-magical darkness more strongly than others.
Yeah, but it does still help. When we were carrying the torches through the hallways, it did seem to relieve some of that
Well, I
feeling.
mean, I kind of gesture towards Thaddeus. I'm like, he's lit like that. And you've seen me capture the power of sunlight and use it. And when I do that, I also give out magical light. So do you think we need non-magical light in addition to this? Maybe we should just bring a couple torches?
Also, keep in mind that whatever Esanihen wants us to do, she wants us to do it in a place that isn't covered by this darkness.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, whatever we're going to be fighting is going to fight back, right? So, and if that's what it's using to control people and cause issues, then negating that in any way possible.
We could see what else they developed since we've been gone. I mean, they have magical rope. Remember that magnet rope?
I have it still. I might have it still.
They might be really, really super cool by now.
It is mending,
I mean,
so
not
even
that
if it
that
got
wasn't-
destroyed, maybe it'll come back.
Not that wasn't cool, but
Yeah, I get you. Anyways, that's the only thing I can think of.
But do we have time to go delving through a
I would
ransacked
say I wouldn't
factory
spend more
right
than an
now?
hour to fly by there,
wouldn't Pilzip be there or his brother?
say princess's orders, and we jump in there and see what we can find and go to it.
I don't know. Esanihen did say to come back to her as soon as possible.
I'd be okay with leaving now too, if you think we need to go immediately.
Whatever's best.
I think we have enough ways to light
Okay.
at any darkness that comes in our path.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
All right. So where exactly are we going?
A plane called Arborea. I guess Esanihen's domain there. I don't know if she was intending to whisk us away herself or if she expected us to plane shift.
I mean, I can bring us there, but I wouldn't be able to bring us anywhere else today.
I guess Thaddeus will like briefly pray to Esanihen just to say like we're ready now if you can take us if you're able.
Okay. You don't necessarily, sense or hear any sort of response. Yeah, you get the feeling that forcing you, whisking you across the plane was sort of one thing, but like pulling you to Arborea either isn't really possible for her, or for one reason or another, she's hoping that you'll send yourselves there.
So nothing much happens. Okay.
Yeah.
I say, well, I don't know what it is. I'm not getting a response. It might be that she was able to put me here, but maybe she can't bring me back now that Nasheen is covering the world.
Or she can't bring all of us.
Or she can't bring
Because
all
we're
of
not
us.
all her worshippers.
We might just be in a dead zone inside the castle.
Do we have a signal yet?
Esanihen, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, no.
Gavin's fault. We have to blame everything on Gavin.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, are we bringing him with us too?
I think so.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay. Well, I think we have to hold hands, but I'm going to stand on the opposite side of the circle from Gavin because I don't want to
Right.
touch that
Who's
group.
going to hold hands with Gavin?
I'll do it if we have to.
Yes,
It's fine.
And then
Oh,
Piotr
I
like
will.
this.
I will.
I can do it.
Mara will.
Oh, Mara. Oh, geez. Maybe I'll do it instead of Mara.
Mara will be doing that thing that
Tormenting.
like you're.
I have that missile snaring glove thing,
I'm just imagining Mara doing the thing that like your kid cousin does on Thanksgiving, when everyone's gathered up to like pray or whatever, and he's like squeezing your hand as hard as he can.
Yeah.
Right.
Mara spit in her palm first.
Yeah.
Let's hold hands again.
Pinky crawls out, poops on him a little bit.
Don't break the circle.
crawls into his pocket and leaves a bunch of like little pebbles in there.
Bothers
Bites
him.
holes in his fancy suit. As the group of you kind of gather up and hold hands, and Harmony prepares to cast her spell, Dawn, Bree, and Aramil have sort of gathered at the entrance to the room, and they just kind of all give you a wave and say, "Good luck. We're all cheering for you."
Thanks. We're gonna need it. I'm gonna close my eyes
Back.
and I'm gonna cast Wish to cast Plane Shift. And I say, I wish to transport myself and my companions to Arborea.
Okay. There's a familiar whoosh of magic as the group of you are pulled from the material plane out across the multiverse and into another plane of existence. When your vision clears, you find yourselves in a sort of heavily wooded area. And when I say heavily wooded, it's like this is the ideal form of a forest. It is just beautiful. It is nature in all of its resplendence. But something that strikes, especially you, Thaddeus, since you've been here before and have memory of it, last
Sorry,
time you were here, everything seemed of natural scale and size. But now that you're plane shifted here instead of sort of spiritually present here, everything looks incredibly large. The scale of things is just it is way off, and you are dwarfed by. So you'll stand next to a fern, and this fern towers like some of the tallest trees that you've seen in the world, and the trees tower high above that. And in the distance, in sort of gaps in the trees, you can see mountains higher than any you have seen in Alen'dal or any plane of existence that you visited before. And on one of those incredibly high mountains, you, as if your vision is pulled across the land and you can see it clearly, despite being far away. There is a castle carved of white moonstone, and you can see the banner of all the phases of the moon across the front of it. And you know that is where you must be. The other thing about this plane that becomes becomes immediately obvious to the group of you is you feel this excitement bubble up within you, sort of this uncontrollable like urge to explore and adventure and discover the unknown. It is as if you're just incredibly excited about being here, and it affects all of you in equal measure. The air of the place seems to have kind of a sweet, almost like wine-like smell to it. That just further serves to excite your senses and pull you more strongly into this place.
What's the sky like here?
It is, so as you look up at the sky, even the sky seems to have a bigger scale somehow. Like this, it's just vast, but it's not dark. You seem to have arrived on a sunny day. There is a sun in the sky. But like I said, somehow you can see distances, even though you're not anywhere near these places. And as you kind of look around, you can also see areas where there seem to be intense localized blizzards or thunderstorms, which are of a more sort of violent and intense nature than you've ever seen back on Alen'dal.
That is a point with a sword off in the distance there. That's where we have to go.
Lead the way.
Harmony, why are we so small?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
Wow, now I have an appreciation for how she felt all those years.
Same. I thought this
I
was
was
her
gonna
getting
say,
back at us.
If we feel dwarfed by this scenery, if Nasria would here, would she feel gnomed?
Lulu, who was summoned from the sword and teleported with you, as soon as you arrived on the plane, she basically began to like fly spirals up in the sky at an incredible pace, and then she kind of dive bombs back down as the group of you are saying this, and she's just going, "Whippy! I'm back! I'm back! I'm back! Oh, Arborea, I've missed you!" And she kind of like dives down to the ground and like kisses it with her trunk.
Oh.
Oh, you don't even know how good it is to be home. I've missed this place.
Well, let's go off to the I guess the temple, the castle, whatever the home is. Let's go.
The castle. Yes. Let's. Come on, everyone. Hurry up. Let's go. Let's go. And she just
Okay.
begins like spinning circles around you
Yeah.
as you make your way.
I whisper to Zant, boy, Thad sure knows how to speak Arborish well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess he does.
I'm going to check in with Moloch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He is on your shoulder. You can feel his weight there, but he seems to have gone invisible.
Yeah, I'll just kind of lean over and say, hey, how you doing there, buddy? How do you feel?
Hold on a second. Sick. Not great. Not good at all.
Plane
This
doesn't
place-
agree with you.
Nope. This is the opposite of where I want to be.
Well, I thought this might happen. Just try not to be sick on my hair, okay?
Yeah. I'll point it the other way if I need to.
Thanks.
And he just kind of will make groaning noises from your shoulder from time to time, but other than that, he stays pretty silent.
Like, pat his head very gently.
Oh, don't do that. I'm getting motion sickness. You don't walk for too long, or fly, whatever it may be. You don't travel for too long before you spot something winging its way towards you from the direction of the castle. And those of you with good perception, so probably Zant, can, before the rest of everyone else, perceive what it is that is coming in your direction. And it is a figure that you recognize. A beautiful angel with a light blue blindfold across her eyes. You recognize the form of Zerial making her way towards you.
Well,
she
look
made
who
it
it
home.
is.
Yeah. Should we I point to Thaddeus. Should we give them a minute?
Oh,
Should we leave
again?
them alone for a minute?
I mean, let's wait a sec, like last time, and then we did pretty good last time too. So
Yeah, that's true.
Play
We
it
did.
out. Play by ear.
We weren't conspicuous at all.
No, perfect.
There are plenty of trees we can hide behind.
Huge trees.
Yeah.
Wait a minute alone with Zerial? Am I missing something?
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. We danced once, but like,
Did I miss the Thaddeus Zerial ship? Did that
You
happen?
might want to show
Oh,
her
does
appreciation.
sorry, what was that?
She might want to show her appreciation.
Did she like regain her angelic form and stuff, or is she still
Yeah,
kind
she
of
did.
okay?
Yeah.
I think the only difference is that she didn't regain her hand.
Yes.
I see.
So she is, and you, as you can see her getting closer and closer, you can tell that she is still missing one of her hands. I guess it's more like part of her arm, because I think it's like at the elbow. But you can also see on her belt is a familiar sword hilt. Thaddeus's old moonblade glistens there. She closes the distance on you rather quickly, and as she bats her wings to come to a grinding halt, there's a blast of wind on your faces. And she looks down at the group of you and says, Thaddeus, the lady sent me to fetch you.
Well, we came as soon as we could. We had a small amount of mists back in Alen'dal to take care of, but we're ready now.
Very well, then let's be off. But before she can, make her turn to head back to the castle, Lulu zooms past the group of you turning into mammoth form as she goes and basically pinning Zerial to the ground. Zerial! And she just like pins her down and like starts like, trunk kissing her. Oh, it's really you. Oh, thank goodness. I've really missed you. I'm glad you made it home. And oh, look at you. You're so beautiful, just like you used to be. And Zerial's like, Lulu, darn it, Lulu, get off of me. I'm glad you're back too. And finally, when she gets Lulu off of her, she just kind of nuzzles Lulu's head into her and says, just kind of pats her golden fur and says, I can't believe that we're both back here. And you see a couple glistening tears falling from Zerial's eyes underneath the blindfold.
I think Thaddeus like hesitates for a second, and like kind of, yeah, you know how like Harmony and Zan have been kind of whispering to each other.
Mhm.
He kind of says, so that only Zerial can hear, I paid a heavy price for that, you know.
Yes, I've heard. But there may yet be things we can do. And she smiles at you and puts a hand on your shoulder. Don't doubt Our Lady just yet.
All right.
Come,
Put my-
everyone, fly with me. We
Okay.
don't have a moment to lose. And as she says that, each of you begins to feel, those of you who don't have wings or means of natural flight, begin to feel weightless as a fly magic is bestowed upon you.
Hmm.
Neat.
So I don't think Thaddeus has like really had the opportunity to just like fly for fun and just really appreciate how cool flying is since he got
This
his
is-
wings.
This is the place to do it because the
Yeah.
thrills, as you climb in height, and then dive bomb, do a quick dip, everything is accentuated. It is pure freedom.
Hey, Mara, I'll race you.
Well, first-time arrivals in Arborea are sometimes like this, Zerial says to Thaddeus.
I think Thaddeus would look back at Gavin and see like, is even he enjoying himself even a little bit here?
Roll an insight check.
Okay. Ooh, natural 20. So that's a natural 22.
Yeah, he is actually. His countenance has been rather, dark and sullen, throughout this entire thing. But ever since you got to here, he seems to have brightened up a bit in probably a way you've almost never seen Gavin ever brighten up.
That's good.
I think Byako's like goofily flying upside down and trying to like rub his back on the trees and stuff like that as he's going.
Cute.
And Xan's just trying to like corral him. Like, come on, no, we're going this way. Yeah, just, and I'm like, no, come on. I know it's fun, but we gotta go.
Yeah, Zerial doesn't stop any of you from kind of just like messing around. She just kind of makes sure that all of you are generally headed in the right direction.
Look what I
and-
can do.
Catch up to you and pull your tail.
Moloch is like, "Avast!"
Yeah, Moloch has probably puked a couple times, but true to his word, he tries to keep it off of you, Harmony. So
I appreciate that.
I'll add roller coaster antics to it, and this is what you
I'll
get.
feel better. Just let it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell you, this is a chaotic good plane, which is
Oh.
the exact opposite of Moloch. So he's not happy at all. The distance between you and the castle, which looked immense from afar, closes very quickly. Perhaps it's that your grip on time is a bit looser here, or perhaps there's something to traveling with Zerial, but it seems like moments before you are standing at the grand front entrance of a massive white moonstone castle with a banner of the phases of the moon above the entranceway. And I think Thaddeus wouldn't, or he didn't initially remember the last time he was at this castle because it was when he died fighting Quor, and those memories were lost. But I think seeing it, you'd have kind of sort of a deja vu moment. As you notice that the phases, the waning crescent and the third quarter, are conspicuously missing from the banner. And Zerial just gestures broadly and says, "Well, she's waiting for you."
I'll like what's the scale of the entrance relative to us?
That's another interesting thing, because as soon as Zerial kind of greeted you, things, I mean, they still seem grand and large, but it seems like things, like the scale of things, kind of adjusted. So this castle is still an imposing castle. It's still larger than the castle in Ferendel, or probably any, residences or structures you ever saw back on the material plane. But it doesn't seem like it's built for a giant or anything like that.
So like in some way we've been acknowledged as like guests here.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll open the door and walk in.
Okay. As the group of you walk in, Zerial stays behind. She doesn't follow you in, and she just kind of gets one last word with Thaddeus, where she says, "I know I thanked you before, but truly I owe you everything."
Even, I don't doubt Esanihen's power here. I don't doubt her ability to help me, but even if she can't, it would be worth it.
Your estimation of my value is perhaps too high, but I appreciate the sentiment. Now go. Don't keep her waiting.
Okay.
And the group of you enter into a chamber. It seems like a royal throne room. But there's not just a single throne. There's a sort of crescent shape row of a group of thrones. And the floor around each of them and the tapestries behind and on them all indicate, as you would expect, sort of the different phases of the moon. And seated on the four thrones, or on the thrones are, there's more than four thrones, but not all of the thrones are filled. Let me count how many of them are actually here. Let's see. Yes, there are four figures seated in the thrones, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thrones total, so only half of them are filled. Thaddeus, you recognize Esanihen sitting at the throne marked with the waxing gibbous. She looks just as she did when you were pulled from the hells to here. The same sort of sharp angular features, bright blue eyes, and the heavy armor and weaponry that is she arrays herself with as the god of judgment. Another figure you see that you recognize, though I'm not sure if anyone else has seen this figure,
I don't think so.
is a sort of humanoid shape comprised entirely of twigs, like brittle twigs like a bird would use to build a nest. And this humanoid figure has a vaguely bird-like shape, as much as seems very happy to
I
hear.
think we saw her when we were with Secret.
Oh yeah, maybe you did.
Mhm.
But you recognize the form of the Raven Queen, who seems to be not sitting in, but standing by. Which throne would that be? The
Once again,
Waxing
I'm very
Crescent.
sorry to have done this to you years ago, Ethan.
It's okay. It's been fun, actually. Standing by the throne of the Waxing Crescent. In the throne designated by the first quarter, there is a woman of immaculate beauty, radiant in the most literal sense. She has like very like beautiful dark skin, and she is actually physically glowing with this bright light, such that you can see her within the light, but she is just emitting almost like sunlight or moonlight. It is dazzling. And then the final figure sits in the throne for the new moon, and she is kind of sitting in a strange fashion. Like the thrones have armrests, and she has her legs up over one of the armrests, sitting to the side. Um, she's wearing like a, I mean, basically like a leather biker's jacket with like studs and stuff on it. And she's got short, kind of a little bit curly orange hair, and she has piercings like in her nose, several in her ears, um, kind of all over her visible face, and she just seems to be like filing her nails. But Esanihen stands and greets the group of you and says, "Ah, there you are. We have much to talk about."
Good to see you again, my lady.
I think you know one of my sisters, and she
Yeah,
gestures towards the Raven Queen.
that is nods.
But these other two will be fresh faces to you. And so she gestures to the radiant woman sitting in the first quarter throne and says, "This is Aishanin, one of my sisters." And then she gestures towards the other one and says, "And this is Ashenai. Uh, yes, another one of my sisters. This is unfortunately everyone we could call together for now. But between the group of us, I believe we can resolve all barriers between us and come up with a plan of action." First, and she kind of looks at Thaddeus, "We had a brief conversation, and I know you've told your friends, but if any of you have questions that you would ask of me, perhaps we should get those out of the way first."
Why could the other sisters not be here?
She gestures towards the throne for the waning crescent and says, "That's where my sister Hinasin would have sat. You might know her by her current name, the Demon Queen Lolth. For reasons which I hope you understand, she could not be with us." She gestures then towards the seat for the third quarter and says, "And there would sit Nashin, who you may have heard referred to as the Starless Knight, and we must now plot against." And then she gestures towards the throne for the full moon and says, "And there would sit Sehanin, our oldest sister. She is elusive.
Wouldn't there be one more?
Did I miss one?
I
Let's
think
see.
so.
Yeah.
I have no idea who it was.
I'm counting 7 right now out of 8.
Oh, right.
Yeah, same.
She then points to the waning gibbous. Of course, I forgot waning gibbous. And there would sit Ninashe, the final of my sisters, god of revelry. We could not get her to cease her revelry long enough to come up to this serious council.
And this is not a large enough threat to have them, be present. I understand some, obviously, but,
It's not her way.
Interesting.
I don't think she can force her sisters to attend if they don't want to.
Better
Precisely.
off
suppose so.
without then.
However, I think that the forces we have here are formidable enough that we ought to be able to accomplish what we need to do. And there are many things we need to do.
I hope that you have a plan because I have none. I don't know what to do against this.
Well, we have options, which I wish to discuss. But first, please, if there are any more questions, bring them now. Whatever you wish to know, I will answer to the best of my ability.
You have a way to help Thaddeus.
That is one of the challenges I wish to tackle.
You have a plan.
I have a way that I can assist, but a large portion of it will fall to you two. And she gestures towards Harmony and to Thaddeus in particular.
How much time do we have?
Very little. I think you saw the state of things in Alen'dal.
Very rapidly, yeah.
Many places throughout Alen'dal are in similar states.
Then tell us
Some are
what we need
worse.
to do.
Yeah.
She looks over at, gosh, what was her name? This is going to be awful.
I'm so sorry.
Where'd she go?
We can come up with nicknames.
There we go. Ashine, the one in the leather jacket. And she says, perhaps it's best we accomplish this one's part in these matters before we move on to dealing with the Starless Night. Ashine, if you wouldn't mind. And she just kind of like rolls her eyes, and stands up slowly, kind of saunters over to Thaddeus, gives you a nice hard look, and then Esanihen says, Ashine is god of bargains. If anyone can decipher the fine print of the contract that binds you outside of Asmodeus and his henchmen, it's her. She took some coercion to get here, but please, Thaddeus, let her have a look.
I'm glad I'm glad you're here, Thaddeus says to her, because I never even was afforded the chance to look at what the terms of this contract was.
She kind of gives you like I don't want to say disapproving, but like it's the like, are you an idiot look, right?
Yeah.
An eyebrow
Just like-
raise.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a copy of it? Weren't you trying to get one?
I was trying to call it up at some point to see if I could learn more about it, but all of those attempts failed. I just never could do it. I think I kept rolling ones.
Or at least
And-
really low.
She kind of like reaches down and grabs your arm and pulls it up and says, "Yeah, well, let me take a look."
I'll let her.
Uh,
He's like feeling sheepish because of her gaze. It's like, yeah, I know I was an idiot.
Yeah. As she grabs your arm, the purple light in the veins begins to glow again. and writing in Infernal begins to appear all around your arm in these purple runes. And she says, "Ah, yes, there it is." And she begins to read. And she studies it for some time before she finally says, "Yeah, no, it's no wonder that your little attempt failed. There's wording built into this. The terms are defined in the fine print, not exactly obvious. And I need to find my notes about the fine print here. Give me just a second.
This contract review brought to you by
Yeah, and Thaddeus nods. I thought that I had been clever, but I was a fool to think I could out loophole Glossia herself.
Yeah, the daughter of Asmodeus is well, she's a tough cookie. So let's take a look here. So squash the bug. There we go. And bug hereby defined as the creature Moloch. Sure, that's standard enough. Yada yada yada. Blah blah blah. Squash hereby defined as kill. Kill thus defined as to cause the death of a person, animal, or other living thing. Death here defined as the end of a life, person, or organism. Right. So that all checks out. And she kind of goes back to her seat, sits down on it, puts her head on her hands, and starts like rocking her head back and forth, thinking to herself there. And the infernal wording kind of fades from your arm as well. And finally, she leans forward and says, "Right. Well, the only loophole I can think of is if there's a way to permanently kill the creature without permanently killing the creature. Unless, of course, you're not attached to him, in which case..."
We've been over that. I don't think that's an
we are
option.
very attached.
Well, then, you're going to have to be real clever, she says, and she goes back to filing her nails. Esanihen kind of comes forward and stands close to Thaddeus and says, "I understand that you might now be worried that, having left the Hells, there's no way to permanently destroy the creature Moloch, but there is a solution that I can offer in that regard, if you can find a way to preserve his existence." And she looks at Harmony. And then she turns back to Thaddeus and says, "However, it will diminish a blessing that I was planning to bestow upon you when you face my sister."
I think that is would ask Ashane. And the fine print in this, it doesn't mean permanently kill. No shenanigans about, oh, I killed her, but then somebody, maybe me, who knows, brought it back to life.
Let's see. Cause of death. Death here is defined as the end of life for a person or organism. It does say that. But what she says is, right, it doesn't say that. But the problem here is devils, they're not like you mortal creatures.
No body to revive.
Well,
There are plenty of
partially.
bodies on the battlefield, imp bodies I saw during our fight with Mechagorgon.
The problem more lies in the matter of the soul.
We couldn't revive him because his soul wouldn't be at liberty.
Precisely.
That's a familiar problem.
So after that, Esanihen says, "Listen, Thaddeus, my sisters and I have things, we do have things we wish to bestow on the group of you. As you are now, you would not be able to face my sister, but we hope to raise you to a place where you will be able to confront her. We can't do it ourselves because she lies in the material plane, whereas we are, well, deities are for the most part confined to the outer planes, and there are planar laws in place that prevent us from traversing without jumping through some loopholes. So we had planned to give you the power to face my sister. The ability I wish to confer upon you is that of the true divine smite. I wish to give you my power itself. This would be sufficient to end the existence of a devil, even outside of its plane. And that is why I say that it would diminish your ability to face my sister. I can't give you the ability to use this power in an unlimited capacity as it is taxing on me, but if you choose to use it in this way, that is something you could do.
So I could end Moloch from here, but we don't. He looks back at Harmony. We don't want to end Moloch, do we?
Not without a way to make sure that he can come back, and that's something I can't do right now anyway.
Esanihen looks at you and says, "Why not? Is there not something you can do? Some clever work of magic? You have no ideas?"
Harmony's like,
I mean, I literally used my wish spell to get us here, so.
As you think about that, you feel as if stepping into this castle, all of you would feel this, your energy has been replenished, as
Oh.
if you've taken a long rest.
Well, well.
Well.
Wish, wish, wish.
I guess. Would you be willing, Harmony? Also, I feel really dumb for taking a long rest back in
Well, you-
Alen'dal now.
We didn't know.
Physically couldn't have gotten here.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
That's
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get you here anyway. Well, I think taking care of this now would diminish your ability, but it would also diminish mine. So do we take care of it now, or do we find another loophole? Or do we go back to Avernus, take care of it there?
I can't ever go back to Avernus.
Esanihen looks to Harmony and says, "Child, while you are within my domain, you need not fear the expenditure of energy. I will take care of any needs you have. Please, whatever you can do for Thaddeus."
Unlimited wish spell.
I mean, that's a lot of power you're giving to me right now.
Yeah, Esanihen is giving you that power. Yep.
Oh, oh my gosh. Heroes feast. Wish for that. Wish for this. Pew, pew, pew.
So yeah, basically you can cast the wish spell to basically do as much, do whatever it takes to try and
Oh,
come
God.
Like a
up with
super
Wait.
genie.
Mhm.
So, I mean, wow. But also, how does this work? Like, he can use the ability to kill Moloch, but then I'd have to use a wish spell to make sure that his soul is available to come back to his body, or to make sure that he can revive right after, or like, what is the sense that I'm getting from this?
Like his spell won't work. He
has to be able to die in order to fulfill the
Right.
contract.
If you ask for clarification, Leather Jacket God, whatever her name is,
Ashene.
Ashene.
Ashene will say, Right. He's gotta die, but if there's a way to preserve his existence in death, the problem is if you actually kill the creature, being that it's a devil, bringing it back is not an option. But if there is a way to preserve his being and yet still kill him, that's what we're looking for.
That feels. I don't know what to wish for to make that happen.
Do you want to roll an Arcana check?
Yes.
I have a suggestion if this Arcana check fails, because I think I kind of know what Ethan's getting at here.
Well, Thaddeus, feel free to chime in. This is mostly Esanihen seems to be looking to the two of you to come up with a solution here. She's provided
19.
the tools that she can. Well, hold on to that. We'll just see
Okay.
what Thaddeus's suggestions are.
I think Thaddeus says devil souls get pulled back to Avernus when they die, or back to the Styx. You know, we kind of saw that. All this Lemire is coming up from. But what you could do before I kill him is make him no longer a devil.
Can I reach under my shoulder and just take Moloch into my hands?
Yeah, he's just like, ugh.
I know he's invisible right now, but I can feel him.
Yeah. Mhm.
And just hold him in front of me.
He's actually not invisible. As soon as you cross the threshold of this place, he became visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just hold him in my hands in front of me. Is that okay? I mean, you've told me you don't want to go back to the hells, but this is changing everything about who you are.
Between groans of pain, Moloch says, listen, boss, I said I trust you, and I trust you.
Well, then if you aren't a devil anymore, what do you want to be? Do you want to be like us? Do you want to be like me? Do you want to be a dragon or a... I could make you anything you want.
A unicorn. This is so
What would Moloch want to be?
I'm not going to impose my own whims on you.
I hadn't thought
Thaddeus
about.
mutters to himself, that'd be a first.
Character growth.
Say again, a what?
Oh, I hadn't come to a decision yet. I'm thinking.
I missed what Nick said.
Oh, I said that would be a first.
That would be a first.
Man, I'm drawing a blank.
Want to be a pseudo dragon?
What would Moloch want to be? Not a pseudo dragon. That's too weak. Moloch wants to rule.
He wants to be strong and powerful.
Moloch wants to be a Tarask.
Yes.
Do you want to
that's the
be?
one.
Do you want to be like a minotaur or something, or a genie?
Yeah, he might say
Or a unicorn?
dragons are cool. I like dragons.
What color?
Oh, red.
Red.
Yeah, I like red.
Promise not to light us all on fire the minute you transform.
He just kind of like nods.
All right. Okay, I'm going to give him a little bit of a hug against his will and then set him down and get down on my, like sit cross-legged in front of him, take a deep breath and cast Wish.
And what's the wish?
I wish to change Moloch the Imp into Moloch the Red Dragon.
Okay. And do you have a spell accompanying that, or are you using the other feature?
There is a shape change spell, isn't there?
There's like
that
true
becomes
polymorph.
permanent.
There's
Yeah.
True polymorph, but True polymorph is 9th
But
level.
it's at 9th level, so I can't cast it,
Oh.
right? I'm not sure if there's like
one
a
called
shape
shape
changing
change, but I don't know
spell
if it's
or
Yeah,
a-
but it's what Lily uses. It's only supposed to last for an hour.
I see.
but so it's true polymorph that I'm thinking of, but that's a 9th level
It
spell, so I
is,
can't do
yeah.
it. So I'm just gonna have to use
Ooh.
Wish.
Yeah, shape change is also a 9th level anyways, so it wouldn't do the trick.
We could do other
Right.
wishes first if you wanted, just in case.
Heroes Feast
Yeah, all of them. I don't know.
first.
Man, it would be so awesome up here. Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean, we're
Get our
here. I
mileage.
just said, I just did
Fine.
it. So I marked it off and I don't need to mark it off.
Nope, you don't need to mark it off.
Okay.
All right, do you want to roll that percentage dice?
Not really.
assist.
Not really.
Looking up
Okay.
real quick what kinds of rolls Tides of Chaos applies to.
Do you
Oh,
want
yeah. It's an advantage on an attack roll ability check or saving throw, so it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This is casting the spell producing during the stress use. My strength drops to 3 for 2d4 days. And there's a 33% chance that I'm unable to cast Wish ever again.
So 33 or lower.
God.
And then I roll 2d4 to see how long my strength is down.
You
Or does that not
don't have
apply
to worry
here?
about that here. Yep, Esanihen will provide you with the strength that you need.
Okay. All right. I'm really nervous. This is really gonna make me feel sick
God.
if I roll really.
I know.
I want to do it. Okay. I rolled a 30.
Oh no!
Can you bend
So
luck?
Harmony, you cast the spell, and as you do, you see Moloch's form, where you laid him on the ground, begin to twist and change, and he begins growing to an immense size. And you watch as his form changes from sort of a humanoid-ish shape, although on a small scale, into a massive draconic form. The chamber, though initially seeming like it wouldn't accommodate the size of such a large dragon, seems to expand oddly, such that the dragon fits within the chamber that you're in. But before you know it, Moloch grows to an incredible size, and he is this red dragon with the occasional golden scale here and there. But as you feel the magic leaving you and going into Moloch, you feel that connection to your ability to weave the fabric of reality begin to break. But your fragment of balance in its amulet on your throat pulses a little bit. And if you want to, you can use Tides of Chaos to re-roll one or the other of those two die.
Oh, dang.
Either the ones digit or the tens digit.
You're muted.
You are muted.
Mm.
I re-rolled the 10 and got 60.
Hey!
Yes!
So you feel that ability to shape reality slipping from your grasp and flowing out of you, but the amulet at your throat pulses, and by sheer force of will, you pull it back in and retain the ability to cast.
Dungeons
Wish.
and Dragons show! yes!
Now-
God.
Now all we have to do is
Oh,
Thaddeus has to kill
shoot.
a red dragon.
Oh yeah.
The interesting thing, as you look at Moloch, is that you've seen dragons, and Moloch seems to be examining his claws and like flexing his draconic muscles and things like that. But there are things about this new form that don't look entirely draconic. The wings, for example, retain their sort of fiendish bat-like look. There is something altogether still fiendish in appearance about this dragon, though it is clearly Moloch has clearly become a dragon of some significant age.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna get up and run over and just hug whatever part of him I can hug. His front leg or something.
Yeah, and he brings the other massive claw around you, kind of wary of his strength, and gently places it onto you, and he just says, I guess probably in Draconic, out of instinct.
I speak.
Mhm.
Same.
Thank you, boss.
I'm gonna look back at the leather goddess
Mhm.
and like, is there like approval or like this is gonna work type of thing?
Yeah, she's gone back to filing her nails, but she catches your glance and just kind of gives you a nod and says, "Yeah, I think this will do it."
Okay.
Oh,
One
look, you
hurdle's
look
clear.
Beautiful.
And yeah, he's admiring his claws and his tail and his wings, and he says, "I feel strong. I like it."
Unfortunately, Thaddeus has to kill you now.
But
we'll bring you right back.
Yeah, he swings his head around, and the eyes are unmistakably still like the same as Moloch's. Like they're red tinged with gold on the outside. And he says, "I said it before. I'm trusting you, boss. I know you'll bring me back."
I just hug him really, really hard.
And he lays his neck down in front of Thaddeus, and then looks at Thaddeus. And I guess, does Thaddeus speak Draconic? I don't think so.
He doesn't. Thaddeus speaks a lot of languages now, but Draconic is not one of them.
Yeah. So he would then open his dragony mouth and say in common, "Well, if you're going to do it."
All right. Thaddeus will look at Esanihen
Mhm.
and raise his sword.
She comes over and puts her hand on your shoulder, and you feel incredible power course through you. It's enough that it kind of buckles you to your knee for a moment, before you're finally able to rise again.
Question.
Yes?
If he's not a demon anymore, does Thaddeus need to use this ability to kill him?
It's a good question.
He's just a dragon now. And that rule about having to be in the hells to be actually killed shouldn't apply anymore.
Leather Jacket Goddess says, "Bing, bing, bing, we got a smart one. I was wondering if someone would pick up on it. Yeah, you should be good."
So you don't even have to use your thing.
Yeah, I think Thaddeus actually sheaths his sword and says, "This is for vengeance, and what's happening now is not. It's nothing you did, Moloch." And he takes out a javelin and drives the javelin into Moloch's neck.
Okay.
I hide my face in Moloch's leg.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because hit points exist, it would normally take you a lot more to kill him, but since he's exposed his neck to you and for narrative purpose, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, the group of you, if any of you don't look away, you see the life does fade out of Moloch's eyes, but Moloch keeps his eyes firmly fixed on Harmony the entire time. And then
Reach out and I touch his face.
Yeah, I'll watch.
who does what then?
Do you want to do this, Harmony, or should I?
Well, I do have unlimited wish. I will cast Revivify with my wish.
Okay. The hole that was created by the javelin, as you cast that spell, is filled with rainbow light, and soon the hole is kind of patched over, and you see light return to the dragon's eyes. And there's a like a big inhale of breath, and the room raises in temperature a few degrees as Moloch just comes back to life.
I look at Thaddeus' arm.
Yeah, Thaddeus is also looking at his arm.
I've still got my hands on Moloch's face.
It's more like this.
You feel okay?
Uh,
Yeah. like this.
Yeah, Moloch is a very big dragon, like bigger than Mandus at this point.
How do you feel? Are you okay? It's over.
He kind of like looks down at you and says, "I was just stabbed in the neck. How do you think I feel?"
I'll cast Mass Cure Wounds.
Sure. As you're doing this, though, Esanihen's eyes never leave Thaddeus. And Thaddeus, you watch as the veins glow lilac purple again, and the infernal runes appear around your arm, and then burst into flame one by one, spiraling around your wrist until that purple light fades.
Yes. I'll give him a big clap on his back. You did it, Thaddeus.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like, Thaddeus looks at Esanihen and Harmony and Moloch, and he's like not sure who to thank first, but like tears are like forming in his eyes.
Esanihen comes and stands over you and says, "I'm sorry it had to even come to this. I was powerless where you were, and that frustrates me to no end. You're the greatest servant I have had in some time, Thaddeus, and I'm glad that we were able to do something about your fate." And then she looks to Harmony and comes over and she says, "I can't thank you enough for what you did.
I didn't really do anything.
You did everything. This wouldn't have been possible without your abilities."
I was just protecting my friends.
I think Thaddeus laughs. That's what got us into this mess, and that's what got us out.
And that's what will get you through this final confrontation with my sister, which I think it is now time to talk about. And Leather Jacket Goddess says, "Right, yep, that's my cue. I've done my part. I'm out of here. Laters." And she just like turns around and walks away, pulling a cigarette out of her pocket as she goes. And lighting it.
It's clearly like a no smoking sign. She doesn't even
Yeah.
care.
Which just leaves Esanihen, the Raven Queen, and the God of Light. What was her
Radiant.
name? Something like that. Yes, there it is. Esanihen.
Esanihen.
Let me just check my notes. Other things we need to talk about, just so I don't forget anything. Right. Now the time has come to discuss what we will do. I see three options before us. Neither one of them is particularly appealing to me because of the bond I, to this day, still feel with my sister, but we must choose one. The first is the solution we originally chose. I could work with my sisters here to create another celestial object in which to seal her again. In which case, the group of you would merely have to buy time while we worked the ritual necessary to imprison her again. That is one option, though not ideal, because no matter how we work it, there will always be conditions for her potential release again in the future. We can make sure that it is difficult, but it is possible, as you've seen in recent days. The second option I see is that between the group of you, with the blessings we bestow upon you, you manage to slay her, finally, once and for all. I can accept this, though well, you understand, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then the final option, which I see, I do not know how to accomplish, but perhaps the group of you can see a way. If we could send her to this place that she longs to go to, this realm that she sees in the void between the stars, if we can banish her there, I doubt she would wish to return. Those are the options I see before us.
Thaddeus speaks up and says, my brother Gavin has voiced a desire to pay some part of your sister's price. Is there anything he can do? Any sacrifice he can make that would help?
Yeah, you can see that Gavin's eyes have gone wide as you've mentioned him and brought him into the conversation. And he kind of comes forward and says, he bows awkwardly, kind of like gets down on one knee. Yes, as my brother says, this is not what I wished. This is not what I desired. I feel remorse for what I've done, and if there's anything that I can do, well, I'll do it. I don't know how much aid I can be, but I will help. And Esanihen says, there very well may be something for you, Gavin Hammerlock. And then she addresses the group of you. I intend to call allies from across Alen'dal to aid you. My sister has minions of her own which will seek to protect her.
Bless you, bless you,
Kay.
bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless
She
you.
just keeps going.
Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah, that was a
It's
lot.
like 9 or something.
And Esanihen says, I think that your friends and allies, and she nods at Gavin, you included, it will fall to them to deal with those minions of my sisters and keep them away from the group of you. And perhaps lend a hand within the battle as they can.
I understand your reluctance to go with the second plan. I faltered when the choice was laid before me, and I understand that you would be unwilling to do the same.
I will accept any judgment. I understand that it is the simplest course of action, though it will not be easy.
But I wonder if Gavin, who still has some sort of tie to Nasheen would be able to facilitate opening a gate to these far places.
Wouldn't that be very similar to killing her, sending her to that void? What's the difference?
Esanihen looks at Mara and says, even us deities do not know what that place is, or how to get there, or what lies within, but my sister has long felt kinship with it and desired to see it and to be seen by it.
So
That
can
would-
she be
doing-
coerced? Can she be coerced to aid us in that endeavor?
It's possible that through Gavin, you may be able to play upon her desire and find a way to create a rift or a tear that could lead her to that place.
It would be the difference between, say, killing Moloch as we had just discussed, or killing Moloch in the ordinary way. One way would just completely obliterate him, but the other would send him back to where he is. Well, a different Delaval, I guess. Moloch doesn't want to go back to hell right now.
The problem is there are no certainties there. As I said, it is beyond my understanding.
I'll look at the rest of the group and says, which sounds more feasible to the rest of you?
Out of
Well,
the
there
2 or the
are-
3 options?
Out of the 3, I suppose.
There is magic that can open a doorway to other planes. I can't do it. It's beyond my capabilities, but maybe someone we know, Seal maybe. Maybe someone can, or we can find someone who can.
Which spell are you thinking of?
Gate.
Gate.
It's a 9th level spell, so I can't
Mhm.
cast it with Wish.
What? Gavin had that thing. What was it called? The Well of Many Worlds. Would that be able to help us?
You had that thing.
Yeah, we had to give it back though, I think.
That wasn't from Gavin, was it? That was
No.
from
Yeah, Mike Jensen
Mike
had
Jensen.
it.
Mike Jensen.
That's right. That's right. But
Interplanar risk analysis.
we had to give it
I think we
back.
had to give
Ooh,
it back.
that's an idea though.
I think we had to give that back to the.
We did.
What
give
if
it back.
what if
Ask
we
for
tell
recovery people.
Mike
Really didn't
Jensen?
want to. I really didn't.
No, listen. What if we tell Mike Jensen
His
about this
predecessor,
thing?
Yeah.
This is way above Mike Jensen's pay grade.
I know, but if it's the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis, doesn't this like top the charts?
I love
Um,
this idea.
The problem
No, I'm
The
serious.
greatest
Maybe
idea.
maybe
No,
the Bureau could
I
find
actually
someone
love
who can
this.
cast this spell that
This
we
is
need or
great.
whatever.
Oh my god.
the problem you run into is that the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis, their specific perspective was that they didn't like the inner planes and the outer planes touching, but this far realm that you're discussing is sort of outside of all of that.
Outside.
Right, but technically this deity or whatever she is meant to be from the outer realms or the outer planes, right? Originally, but she's in an inner plane right now, so wouldn't that fall under their jurisdiction to help us get rid of her?
Yeah, they won't exist.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Seal might be able to help. Bureau might be able to help. Gavin might be able to help.
Just saying
God, I love
that
idea.
fucking
That's my
Bureau could
vote.
finally come in.
Yeah, seriously.
Look,
And
what I'm
harassing
trying
us.
to say is, obviously, killing her would be the most straightforward option. Something that would be hard, but we could do it.
I
But
think it would.
sending her,
It's like it's different kinds of difficulty. Like killing her, I feel is going to be the hardest way, although it is the way we understand how to do.
yes,
And banishing her to the far realm is going to be hard in a way that we don't know how to do that. But I think it would be
as far as the
infinitely
combat,
easier than killing her.
yeah. The only issue I can think of when I think about not killing her is if we if we seal her away, if we banish her, there's no guarantee that she won't be a danger to us down the road, or to,
Or
you
to
know,
somebody
whoever
down
comes
the
after
years.
us. Yeah.
The other thing that I think would occur to Harmony is as you're thinking about creating a gate to this place. Well, let me actually read the spell. Maybe it's not the case.
I don't know if I completely read it either. I just looked up the level to see if I could do it.
I mean, it's another one of those things where we have to weigh the opinions of the
Yeah.
goddesses, and if she says, you know, that she believes that her sister would be satisfied going to that place and not come back, is that good enough for us to just believe that? I mean,
So yeah, the thing that I was going to say to Harmony was, while you're struggling to get her into that place, other things on the other side can come through. So that's something to consider.
Wait, no, it says travel through the portal is only possible by moving through its front. It says that right here
The
in
portal
the
has
spell.
a front and back on each
Yeah.
plane where it appears.
Oh. Wait, what is it? Oh, it just
It's the sentence before the one you just read.
yeah.
what
So-
things lurk there? Do
But
you
it,
want to know?
yeah, but it's concentration and can be closed
It is.
pretty immediately.
Yeah, it's not like, what was the other one that we were worried about? Demiplane?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
demiplane is.
that's the
yeah.
thing. Once you end concentration, sure, you can close it. But it's not going to be easy to maneuver a god into this gate.
Unless they're willing. So it would have to be something that we convince her to go through the plane of her own free will.
Yeah.
Or go through the gate of her own free will.
Which
And
I
open
would
it
also
when she's
mention
ready.
will be difficult
Convincing
because
the goddess of madness is not going to be easy either.
Yeah.
it's
It's not like we're going to get her
possible,
to see reason.
But so did the goddess Lolth convince her to go into the moon in the first place?
No, that was a forced imprisonment.
Okay.
Lolth's role in the thing was she opened the Starless Knight's eyes to the existence of this far realm, and then the Starless Knight became fixated on that to the extent that her fixation kind of disrupted the ritual itself.
But if she's obsessed with it and fixated on it, don't you think she'd be gravitated to go through the portal toward it anyway?
Possible.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think it's possible to do that. We'd have to do some legwork. That would be easiest, but it doesn't guarantee that she won't be a problem down the line.
Yeah, I think that's
The only way to guarantee that she won't be a problem is to get rid of her.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
to kill her.
Yeah, we
that's
need a
my-
plan B.
But Thaddeus, ultimately, it's your call.
I would
So
like to
or
banish her if we
We
can.
could do the temporary patch
Yeah,
for now until we come up with how to get her into the
that feels,
journal.
yeah.
So, sealing her in the moon or sending her to the far realms? What's your
I would like to send her to the far realms if possible.
okay? Then we'll send her to the far realms. We'll find a way.
Esanihen nods and says, if that is your judgment, then the time has come to confer what blessings we can to the group of you. Thaddeus, I've already given you what strength I can. Hopefully it is enough to defend you long enough to execute your plan. The other two deities in the room now step forward. The figure made entirely of twigs kind of creaks her way over to Mara and stands in front of you silently for a moment, kind of head cocked to the side a little bit in a bird-like way, and then reaches down and grabs both of your daggers, Fujin and Raijin, and pulls them up. And you watch as twigs begin to sort of grow around the handles of them from her being itself. And they begin to glow with a greater magic than before. And she sort of silently hands them back to you. and you now have a set of empowered Fujin and Raijin daggers. So basically what it will do to Fujin and Raijin is, simply put, they become +3 instead of +1
Wow.
daggers, which is good. So that affects your to hit and your damage rolls. And then I guess I should tell Nick what his Divine Smite can do as well. But
Oh yeah, since I actually get
also,
it.
a certain amount of times, I'm still balancing the exact number, but a certain amount of times when you roll sneak attack, you can decide to not roll and just do max damage. Same for Divine Smite.
Whoa.
A certain amount of times, which I am still balancing, you'll be able to just decide to do max damage with your Divine Smite. The
Slowly
goddess-
reaches for a calculator.
the goddess who is wreathed in light approaches Mara first and just says, I believe you carry a bow. May I have it?
Sure thing. And she thanks the other goddess too.
Yeah, the Raven Queen just kind of creaks back to her position by the throne. Do you hand over the short bow?
Yep.
This is the short bow that
The compass one?
Yeah, the compass one.
Thank you.
She then takes the bow over towards Zant and says, "May I have yours as well?"
Very reluctantly, Zant reaches for his bow, who he's never given to anybody before, and hands it to the goddess.
The goddess glows with immense light, momentarily blinding the group of you. And when the light subsides, you see that the two bows have merged. With the forms of the waves and stars that were carved into the short bow, now represented across your bow as well. And she hands it back to you and says, now when you fire this bow without ammunition on the string, it will fire beams of light, which will help you, banishing the darkness in the coming fight.
Thank you.
What's more, a certain amount of times, which I'm still balancing, you can maximize some damage.
I don't know if I needed that, Ethan, but thank you.
That's why I'm still balancing it, because you're definitely going to get less uses than everyone else, so prepare for that.
Yeah, I understand.
Probably
Okay.
Thaddeus as well will have a few less uses.
Is it a magic weapon now as well, or is it?
It
like...
is,
Okay.
yes.
Cool.
When
Very
you
cool.
fire the light arrows,
Mhm.
it will all be magic damage.
How you got through to level 20 with that bow the entire campaign, and it's only just now a magical weapon.
Yeah, that's
That was a
because I
necessary
did
balancing
way
act.
too much damage. Because I put everything I could into this thing, and it really paid off.
And then she kind of gives you a nod and says, well, may my light guide you as you deal with my sister.
And Zant will bow. Thank you.
And she takes her spot back at the throne. And the room kind of goes quiet, as there are no other deities in the room. And Esanihen looks at Harmony and says, this is a poor way to thank you, but this was all the strength I could gather.
It's all right. You've already given me so much.
And as this conversation is happening, and you kind of feel that I know that you say that, but I'm sure Harmony feels like left out and like jealous of everyone else's.
I mean,
bonuses.
Kay is a player, maybe.
And you have this awesome amulet, and you're like, I still want more.
I know.
No, I mean,
An unlimited wish.
Yeah.
As you're
Oh, yeah, you can still do that.
wrestling with those emotions, there is a thunderclap in the room. Boom! Echoes throughout the room. And it's accompanied by a bolt of lightning. And as the group of you look in that direction of the sound, you see a being who you can't actually perceive in like any form. Like you recognize that this creature is you recognize it to be a creature, but it's strange because it's what you perceive it as changes like almost second to second. 1 second it seems to be like a babbling brook. The next you perceive them as like a breeze, like a soft wind. In the next second, they seem to appear as a school of fish or a swarm of bees. It's as if like nature and magic is representing itself in this being. And Esanihen and the other 3 deities in the room fall to they take a knee instantly.
Oh shoot.
Yep. I think Esanihen kind of motions to the group of you as well.
Yeah,
to, like-
I'll take a knee.
Yeah, I'll follow. Yeah.
To the person.
Don't want
who
to
I'm
displease a
pretty sure
god,
is-
that's for sure.
We'll down there shocked for a second, and then just kind of slowly.
And
take a knee.
Esanihen kind of whispers to the group of you, this is Coralon, the father and mother of all elves.
Oh, this is not who I thought it was.
I don't know.
They
who this
are-
is.
Well, you'll see. As Esanihen says that, she and the other deities kind of stay in their kneeling position, but this being approaches the group of you. And Harmony, as you look up at them, you see yourself within the being. And it approaches you, and you feel some of its power and essence flow from it to you as you gain Coralon's blessing. And then in another flash, it is gone. And the 3 deities in the room stand back to their feet. Well, that was unexpected, but welcome indeed. I didn't think that Coralon would come. We haven't seen them in so long.
Do they live here? Or like
In a fashion, they go where they please.
asks a dumb question because they just have no idea what's going on. Like,
Oh,
Uh,
dude, I'm totally reeling.
yeah, what is going on?
They were the god who first created the elves. Like I said, a father and mother to us.
Why would they come here just for me?
It means that they've deemed our cause a worthy one, and that's reassuring in and of itself. And Harmony, with this blessing, you can concentrate on 2 spells at once, and you gain the ability to maximize some damage.
Dungeons and Dragons show.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god, double
Oh,
concentration is
shit.
insane.
Oh my god.
That's
Well, we
really
were the
cool.
heroes of hell before.
Don't tell them that.
Now we're what?
The heroes of
Elves.
heaven and hell.
And with that, Esanihen and her sisters look as if conferring this much power to you has diminished them a bit. But Esanihen turns to the group of you and says, if you have any final preparations to make, now is the time. Additionally, if you have allies you wish to assist you, name them, and I will bring them.
Is this something you want to do like right now, Ethan, or do you want us to like?
You guys can
Can we
discuss.
have a little
and
bit
give
of-
me a
yeah,
list.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Eli.
Yeah. So the
6
group of you
times.
take some time to list out your allies from Alen'dal, which I will get a list from you guys later. Um, are there any other preparations you want to make before you are whisked off to your final confrontation?
I want to walk up to Thaddeus. Look, things haven't really been smooth between us for a while. And we haven't had a chance to really talk because of, you know, the moon exploding. But I hope that you don't blame me for what happened.
No, no, Harmony. It was a moment of weakness on my part, not yours. Back above the sticks, when I didn't trust you and the others to save yourselves, I thought I had to save you, and I made a foolish choice. And it was the strangest thing, you know. I thought that I was immune to fear. I thought that Esanihen had taken that out of me, but for that 1 second, I was afraid for all of you. And Glossiop seized and pounced right then. She knew what I would be willing to do, and I was a fool, and I took her up on it.
I trust you, and I'm sorry that happened, but we're going into this together, and we're going to get out of this together.
I know it. And Thaddeus brings her in for a hug.
I'll hug him back.
Do Mara and Zant go join the hug?
Yeah.
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 Moloch,
Push Gavin away.
after the two of you have joined the hug for a moment and it's just the four of you, Moloch's claw kind of comes up, and then Byakko also
Pulling us
joins
on a
the hug.
hand, you know.
Hello, Lulu.
Yeah, Lulu wraps her trunk around. I love you guys. I hope you know that.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Pinky.
Lulu says, "You guys are some of the best friends I've ever had, and I mean that. I've had a lot of friends too."
Let's eat. Let's have a meal. And then we'll go do this thing. And I'm going to make it taste really good this time. What do you want to eat? Tell me what you want to eat. And I'm going to cast Hero's Feast, and I'm going to make I'm going to make sure everyone's favorite dish is there.
So I think the group of you have a extremely pleasant meal, and you can feel the magical nourishing and empowering effects of the feast begin to take hold. Throughout all of this, Esanihen replenishes the magic to Harmony. But like I said, you can see that her and her sisters, they seem to have shrunk in size a bit. They definitely look less imposing. They definitely seem as if this whole endeavor has taken a toll on them. And finally, Esanihen approaches and says, "Well, if you're ready then, instruments of my judgment, the time has come for you to go and face your final foe."
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
There's a few more wishes we could make, though, before we leave.
I wish I had a second 9th level spell slot.
Don't be greedy. Yeah, after Thaddeus says, "I'm ready," and Harmony says, "I know we are," Esanihen just says, "Right then. I believe in the group of you. Trust in your friends. Lean on them to help you. And I'll see you all on the other side." And there is a whoosh of magic as you are transported elsewhere. And that's where we will
All
end
right.
tonight's episode. Sorry we went late, guys.
Yeah.
I really
okay.
wanted to
It's
get
okay.
to that point. So
Yeah.
thank you, as always, for playing. Thank you, everyone who tuned in to watch. We will have the epic confrontation against the Starless Knight herself, next week, Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.